Evening once again. I was thinking about a concept I learned from a goat farmer I know. Actually, he probably isn't really a goat farmer, but he's close. As the expression goes, he's maybe one goat short of crazy. And the perspective that I learned from him, I don't think came from his looking after goats. I think it may be that he took up looking after goats after coming to this perspective, though I'm not really certain. But the concept at play here is the idea of scope. Think about a wheel, a circle, right? If this whole world and all the problems make a circular pie chart, what part of it is actually something that affects me right now? Not the whole, maybe just a tiny little slice, maybe just a little wedge of it, right? Really, of that slice, if we were to take that slice and make it into another circle again, right? How much of that can I actually affect myself? Probably, again, just another little slice of that. So of this whole world, just a small slice of its problems actually will impact me at any one time. And of those problems, I can only affect just a little slice of that slice. And it's not a very big slice of that slice either. So in the whole scope of everything going on and everything screaming for me to have an opinion and voice an opinion, because that's the media machinery that we get from this globalized noise factory, I really don't need an opinion for an awful lot of it. And what's more, the media isn't oftentimes asking for me to make an opinion. They really just want me to endorse their opinion. And a lot of social media isn't interested in my opinion. They're just wanting me to endorse one opinion or another. Applying it to this current situation, then, I noticed that a lot of people, myself included, lose sight of this perspective. Not a whole lot of the news is going to affect me. It's not going to really affect you. Not today, not tomorrow. If there are demonstrations going on in one or two cities of this nation hundreds of miles from here, or if the boneheaded decisions being made by governors of other states hundreds of miles from here, I may have the ability to hear about it, but what exactly was I hoping to do about it? And what exactly was fretting going to do about it? So also I've noticed that there's been a lot of commentary on social media which seems to be aimed at the world at large. People saying that other people should maybe do this thing and or not do that thing. And there's nothing wrong with voicing an opinion, but think about it a little bit further. Most of us have a pretty limited network of friends. And oftentimes we share our opinions with our friends, and we tend to clump together with people who are like-minded, or we tend to very quickly develop friendships with people we disagree with, and we move into agreeing to disagree with each other, knowing more or less where each other's coming from. What this really tends to mean is that a lot of the things that we get worked up to say on social media are aimed either at people who share the same view, and so they probably don't need to hear it again, or they're not going to listen to my view anyway, or else I'm speaking it to who? People I don't know? And I'm assuming people I don't know are going to listen to me, and I'm assuming people I don't know are actually going to take what I have to say to heart. An awful lot of what people seem to say seems to be aimed at the cosmos. But what good is that doing? It's burning a lot of energy, but we have this illusion, I think, very, very easily that somehow we have a soapbox and we can get up and speak. But the fact that we only think we have an audience seems to be as much of an illusion as anything else. Maybe we need to just let Facebook go back to being what it was really good at. A place for people to post kitten videos and pictures of what they had to eat. I haven't seen a picture of what someone had to eat in quite some time. Hey, we're all back to doing more cooking at home. Maybe we could just share some good ideas that way. I don't know. I do know, however, that Jesus had something relevant to all of this regarding voicing your wisdom to people who aren't going to listen. We were told, don't give what's sacred to dogs, and don't throw your pearls before swine. They'll only trample them and then turn on you. And regarding just the everyday worries, Jesus said, who of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? A little later on, he, again, talking about important things like food and drink and clothing, said, don't worry, saying, what shall we eat, or what shall we drink, or what shall we wear? For the pagans run after these things. And your heavenly Father knows that you need them. But seek first his kingdom and his righteousness, and all these things will be given to you as well. That's a promise. God will look after us. God will provide for us. If we will focus on Him and His kingdom, it will be okay. It's a promise also associated with the scope that you actually can work on. Because most of the time, at least, you can't shout loud enough or Facebook long enough to seek God's kingdom in some other town. Whether it's Washington, D.C., or Detroit or New York, you certainly can't holler or Facebook enough to get Washington to hear you, or demonstrators for or against some other thing out there somewhere to hear you. And there may be troubles and troubled people somewhere out there that we don't know. But if we look at the one or two exotic weird behaviors and viewpoints out there and worry over that, we're not going to add anything to our lives. If it's not here and not something we can do something about, we'll end up missing the people that are right here. We'll end up thinking that the weird anecdotes that the media dredges up to show us are normal, and they're not. And for most of us, what do we need? We need normal encouragement for normal concerns. Some people right here might well be worrying about what to eat or drink or wear. They probably could use someone to remind them of God's care, or maybe lend a hand with that, or both. They might be worrying about something more than that. They might be worrying about how things are going to go, and they might need someone to just remind them of some down-to-earth perspective. They probably aren't out organizing civil unrest or trying to find ways to break quarantine or finding ways to bring the government overreach crashing down on us all. I know that a good deal of this Christian life seems to continually say we should trust God. Beyond that, it doesn't speak a whole lot about how to treat world events, or what policies we should endorse, or whether we should even develop concerns about too much of world events. That's Americanism. That's not Christianity. And Americanism doesn't promise us a yoke that's easy and a burden that's light. I love my country, and I think we need to be concerned voters enough to be able to be responsible voters, but there's just a huge amount of energy that could be put to so much better use and not wearing us down. What God gives us to focus on in His Word is how we treat and how we care for each other. And the each other is, in fact, for the most part, pretty close by. So maybe we shouldn't worry about thinking global, but we should definitely think and act and speak in love locally towards the people we see and talk to and can really help. I've said in the past to keep looking up to God, and that's still absolutely true. Keep also looking down, not way out at the horizon, but down at the local people who need God's love through you and from you. That's what I got for tonight. Remember, no one is an island, and you don't have to be either. So call right, wave at each other in the park, and continue to draw near to each other during this time of isolation. Shalom.